Where's QB? He's supposed to be here by now.
I know, usually you're the one that's late.
I thought I told you to wait in the car.
No, you spilled milkshakes all over the seats.
Yeah, because you park terribly. Terrible parallel parker.
QB left you something in Pony's room.
Davy boy, I asked Danny to give you this book so you could see it before the interview. I've been thinking a lot about that weird time you recited a poem to me shortly after we killed a guy. It was a poem about Dick Frost. Wait, was that Jack Frost? I have the book. I'll just look at the cover. It's Robert Frost. Anyway, you repeated it to me and it was uncomfortable. But I think that poem was probably meant to mean you're gold when you're a kid. Like green. When you're a kid, everything's new. Just like normal world. It's only a year old. It's an infant. It's small and exciting, Davy. It's gold. I want you to tell Angela to read that poem too. Tell her there's still good in this world. She should know that. And you should ask your doctor about Ozempic. Stay gold, Davy boy. Your friend, Quarter Blackie.
Hello, welcome. I'm Dave Landau.
I'm Quarter Black Garrett.
And this is a very special Normal World. Right now we are sitting here with Danny Boy O'Connor. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I didn't have to drive to Dallas this time. It's fantastic.
No, it's nice. And I have one very important question to kick off.
Okay.
Do you remember that one time RoboCop shot that dude in the dick?
Right in the dick, he did.
It's a
and
good
I
time.
got a mug to celebrate it. I sent you one too.
I know.
Now
I
you got a
appreciated
bumper
the mug.
sticker too.
Dude, I'm putting the bumper
You're gonna get
sticker on my
arrested.
car.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bumper sticker.
Cops ain't gonna find that funny in Dallas.
My 9-year-old thinks it's hilarious.
Every 9-year-old thinks
I
that.
know.
It's 9-year-old humor.
Exactly.
For sure. No, it's and shout out to the guy who makes those mugs. There's a mug and it says, "Do you remember when RoboCop shot that dude in the dick?" And I thought it was hilarious, so I went online and bought it. I put a photo on Instagram, and the guy was like, "Hey, bro, that's the bootleg one. I'm the originator." I'm like, "Oh no!" So I bought the original one from the guy in Philadelphia, Pink Bicycle guy or something. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
He's a character?
Yeah, he's a character, and he makes all kinds of cool stuff like that. And when we were talking, you said RoboCop was filmed at BlazeTV studio or something.
Yeah, it
right?
was,
And I
right
like,
where
hey,
you-
remember
we do
RoboCop
our
shot
show,
that
yeah.
dude in the dick? And
Yeah.
you're like, hell yeah. I'm like, I'm
The
gonna send
old
you a mug.
Paramount studio.
So yeah, cheap thrills die hard.
Yes, sir. We have a new book out, and there's a reason for it. Angela, if you want to show the camera.
Nice. Look at that.
Perfect.
The Outsiders on Set by Nancy Moran.
Yes.
It is,
And where can they pick that up?
It's my second book. It's a photo book. It's mostly unpublished photos of the Outsiders during the filming in '82. It's an incredible archive that I was able to procure and get the rights from my friend Nancy Moran, who was friends with Coppola, and she had a very unfettered access. She was like a fly on the wall, and she got all kinds of very sophisticated, unlike the other book that I did, which is an incredible book by David Burnett, but he did all the money shots and the glossy, really good stuff that the studios needed in magazines. This is a little bit more grainier and grittier. So two different looks, two brilliant photographers, and it's such an honor to have my name on that book because we worked hard to get that book together, and it'll be out in 2 weeks, and you can find it on our website on theoutsidershouse.com. And welcome to North Tulsa, guys. You're at the Outsiders House.
That's where we are
we're
right
at
now.
Right now.
Good stuff.
We're in the house where The Outsiders was filmed. Danny owns it as a museum. And it's incredible, by the way. I just have to
It's
say,
an
like,
amazing thing. Like when you first saw the house, what was going through your head, seeing the condition of it?
It starts way before that, and I've told this 1,000 times, but I haven't told you, so I feel like I owe it to you.
Yeah.
But I saw this movie in '83 in Woodland Hills, California. I went with a friend who was a good-looking, athletic, straight-A student, if
Like
there's such
me.
a thing. Just like
Yes.
it's weird that you say that. It's uncanny that
yes.
you say that.
I figured you'd get the vibe.
And I was going to say, if you can imagine someone cooler than me in like 7th grade, I know it's hard to but he was actually cooler than me. And he asked me one weekend, that summer we were all hanging out riding our BMX bikes, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to go see The Outsiders on Saturday. Want to go with me?" And I was like, "Cool." Like, he never asked me to do anything before.
Yeah.
So we went to see The Outsiders. I had no idea what I was going to see, and I wasn't sure, but when it kicks off in the original version. Not soon after the movie opens, you see Dally on the corner, Matt Dillon, and he meets with Johnny and Pony, and they say, "We're early. What do you want to do?" And he goes, "Nothing legal, man. Let's get out of here." And he starts strutting up the street, and I go, "Oh, this movie's for me." Yeah. After seeing that movie and coming out of the movie, my friend said, "What'd you think?" I said, "It's incredible. I loved it." I said, "What'd you think, Steve?" He goes, "Oh, it's cool. I think the book was better." And I was thinking, book? Like, bro, we're in 7th or 8th grade. Like, what are you reading for? I couldn't believe you were reading, but apparently, apparently people read in 7th and 8th grade. Who knew? Yeah. But looking back, I know what I know now about that movie. That movie, something about that movie said, that's how I feel inside. Like, I felt like I was born into the wrong era, maybe the wrong family, didn't have any guidance, didn't feel like I was loved, didn't feel like anybody was looking out for my best at anything. And when you feel that way, what do? You go outside and you try to make those connections, and sometimes that looks like gangs. Maybe it's sports. But for me, it was, I found other latchkey kids that, felt like I felt. Now, I'm a New Yorker who was transplanted to California, pre-internet, pre-cell phone. Things were different back then, and people used to be like, say quarter. And I was like, quarter. And they were still cracking up. Say water. I was like, water. They're like, let's say water again. He said his mother's pocketbook. I don't know. I was like, go get something out of my mother's pocketbook. What's for supper? They didn't know what supper was. Or, it was just a New York, LA thing. Yeah. And I wasn't like a victim of anything. You had noticeable differences, I wasn't, and so I just always felt like on the margins, and
An outsider.
So we're on the side of the outsider's house. This is one of our latest acquisition. It is the car in one of my favorite scenes where Dally meets Johnny and Pony on the corner of 11th and Denver, and he says, "What's going on, man? We're early. What do you want to do?" And Dally says, "Nothing legal, man. Let's get out of here."
Just the way that it's built.
What did it take to get this car?
Well, cash is what it usually takes to get most of these things. It's funny though, it was more than cash. It's become a beloved feature of the museum, but let's go inside, I'm gonna show you around. Welcome. Oh, you don't have to wipe your feet. It's a greaser.
Oh, that's true.
You're good. Yes. This is North Tulsa, brother. I've been on many sets, and many of my friends are actors, and they don't even get to know the cast anymore. They get flown in, they spend 2 days in a trailer, they do their lines straight away, they go back to the trailer, back to the hotel. If you run into anybody else who's on the production, this movie was different, man. This was like a camp. These guys, they come dressed. They were at every other shoot. They were learning the craft. It was Coppola. Right. So in these books, you'll see like everybody, they weren't shooting that day, but they were at all of the locations all day long rather than go to the bar or go out exploring. Right. They were like, nah, we want to see what this master is doing. This is Coppola. These are my peers and my contemporaries.
Yeah, it's not the camaraderie of trying to figure out something and doing it on film and making sure it's perfect.
Yeah, and he also gave them he gave the greasers less money per diem and gave them paper scripts. He gave leather-bound ones and higher per diem and higher floor hotels and then they had Socha and Greaser. I gave you a Greaser shirt. They made a yellow one for the Sochas, and they made them play football against each other, and they had a rivalry. So by the time they started doing Rumble stuff, they didn't like each other. They were build the tension. And when you're young, you're still competitive that way. You're like, so he built that up. Coppola knew what he was doing. It's funny that, right? But Ralph really played the greasiest of greasers, man. I don't care what anybody says. He really embodied what I feel like a true, you know what I mean?
He's the heart of the movie.
Yeah, he's the heart of that, like the greasy, he just feels like, the Dally, there's always the tough kid in the neighborhood, but this is a different character. This is a subtle guy who's got a good moral compass, and he's got a heart of gold, and he's tough when he needs to be, but he's relenting when he doesn't.
Saves his friend. There's a lot. He's my favorite character.
Him and Matt.
Oh yeah, he puts others before himself, literally, and then
And it took years for me to appreciate that. 2005, I get clean, and something's different about this time because I had been sober before for 3.5 years, and I thought maybe drinking wasn't so bad. I could see that meth had ruined my life, so I just never going to do meth again, and that lasted 72 hours. I was back on meth for another 3 years, and that's when I ended up in that warehouse with everything in a box.
That's how it works every time, too. You go right back to the exact.
And then more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pick up where you left off and then further.
Yeah, you want to make up for lost time.
Yeah, 100%. So in 2005, when I get sober, I want to make up for lost time for the whole decade that I just didn't know about. So the good news is that's right around the time where they were like The Office episode 1 through, so I bought everything that I had missed out, episodic television, that now it's the way we watch everything.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Yeah, binge watch.
Of course. And you can't even get into a show if you have to wait.
Yeah.
Who's waiting?
you're not gonna wait a
We don't
week.
even have the ability to wait for that anymore. So I learned about The Sopranos. I would, and you know where Amoeba was great because they have stuff like Trailer Park Boys that nobody knew because it's from Canada and you'd have to buy the box set. But I'd go to Target too, and Target had really good box sets.
Yeah.
And that's where I got The Outsiders, and I fell in love with it again. And then the internet became such an incredible tool that I could start to Google stuff and names. Where are these people now?
IMDb,
Where is that film?
finding
Oh
out,
my God.
all the information, trivia and stuff. Yeah.
And then I put La Coca Nostra together, which was, we built it in the dark, meaning I was still high when we were talking about the second group that we did called La Coca Nostra. But by the time we made it out on the road, I was sober at that point, and we come to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we had a 3-day layover. And that's when I realized, man, I have been here before, but I hadn't. And you got to understand, you guys just got here now, and you may not know what's around here, but anybody who's from here knows that in 2009, Tulsa downtown, Kane's Ballroom and the Spaghetti Warehouse.
I got to play there once. It was
else,
amazing.
That's incredible. It's a bucket list place.
Yeah.
Me too, and that's where we played. And something just felt so familiar, and then the epiphany happened. Oh shit, The Outsiders.
Yeah.
And the driver, I said, dude, is this where The Outsiders was from? He goes, oh yeah, it is. I go, dude, is there any places you know? He's like, I know the Drive-In and Circle Cinema. Circle Cinema was boarded up. It was it's about to celebrate its 90th anniversary. It was also going to get the Wrecking Ball. Kane's almost got the Wrecking Ball, I think 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Yeah,
thank God
so
it
the family
didn't.
that bought it now. A lot of things were on the margins and about to get, and so I go on the internet. There's a page that's still up. It's called Tulsa TV Memories. Very antiquated HTML. It's like a black page, little blue, purple lettering. And it gave up some addresses. It's now got them all. They've updated it. But at the time, they gave up the Drive-In, Circle Cinema, and Crutchfield Park. Now, the park is a block and a half away from this house.
The Rumble.
The Rumble Field is also a block away from the house. So Coppola used this neighborhood very, he took everything he could take out of this to keep it local and not have to go so far off campus.
Well, he was like that too, with like The Godfather and Sicily and everything. He was very meticulous about it being exactly what it needed to be from the book, which is probably good because it's actually in Tulsa.
Can you imagine
Takes
Warner
place in
Brothers
Tulsa.
when they found out like he wants to make this movie and then he wants to go all the way up to Tulsa to do that? Like with no internet, no cell phones, and you're going to bring everybody from LA out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, I think Tom Cruise and Emilio drove here in a truck. Like they just we're just gonna like they didn't have it like that. He was like, we're just gonna drive there and like whatever. But he wanted that. He wanted to do authentic stuff and be with the author. And most films you buy from the author, you're like, okay, nice to meet you. Now go away. Let us make our film.
Right.
He wanted her around. He would say, hey, Susie, what do you want to do with this? What do you think about that?
I wanted to ask you about that. So Susie, she's from Tulsa.
From Tulsa,
wrote the book
at the high school down the street.
when she was 15.
Yeah, 15 and a half. She failed English, got a D+ in creative writing. Oh, I forgot to tell you earlier, we were talking off camera. By writing this book, by default, she creates the young adult literature category because it's the first time a young adult writes about being a young adult for young adults. Now, you don't have to be a young adult to qualify for that. So let's say like Goosebumps or what is the one, like the,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
So they
Hunger
qualify.
Games, any of those,
right,
yeah.
but there was no category prior to that. They made that category because The Outsiders, and to me, that's not only a Guinness Book of World Record thing. That should be there should be statues all over, and this should be the home of young adult literature. It was birthed here at that school.
Yeah.
But she don't want none of it. She's just happy to have it, out there.
Cool.
The book's never been out of print in 55 years. We have at least 33 different retitled.
which is incredible.
Amazing the collection you have here.
Yeah, I mean, in Italy, it's called the Boys of 52nd Street. In Germany, it was I Am Oklahoma at first.
And was that the movie too? You were saying
The movie they retitled Rebedales, Los Mojanetos. It's got a million different covers and names and artwork, and they're all outsiders. and it just keeps on keeping on. I mean,
Well, it's really her life experience in a way. She's just writing about.
she
her
wrote about
city.
what she saw at Will Rogers High School at the time. It was hard for me because again, I'm a native New Yorker and I know what I know. I'm like, why are rich kids chasing tough kids? Poor, like that doesn't make sense in my book.
Right.
But if you know Tulsa, you realize it's the oil capital of the world, and a lot of people got rich quick here. So a lot of families that might have been greasy got rich quick. So they were the numbers of socias, and this town is similar to that. You may think of, if I show you this town just in North Tulsa, you think this is Tulsa.
Yeah.
If I show you the other side, you're like, well, dude, where in the Hamptons are we?
Right.
There is so much money here. No, you're like, where in Hancock Park are we right now?
Yeah.
Because these oil mansions and this money, this is a very, very well-off town.
When there was
I
a-
didn't know that.
Still.
Oh, still. Oh, yeah. It's like top 5 in
Yeah. Philanthropic. Yeah.
philanthropies.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
they do
that
with the
means
oil
dudes
money.
with
That's
money.
smart. That's smart words.
That's it. Those are big my word papers.
That's sad if that's me.
Hey, that's it. Hey, stop pointing. You're not in court. You just blew it on you. It's like, Your Honor.
Just put it on me.
Fucking-
Well, and that's at a time we were even talking about on the way here. There wasn't really a middle class that existed as much as it was just really rich and poor at the time.
Perhaps, but
Yeah, there wasn't
she
much.
saw that and she wrote about it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I've been with her when she's, someone's come up and said, my uncle was the original pony that she wrote about. She's like, she shuts it down. Like, I was like, yeah, sure, but she says there's no real characters. They're just all people that she saw, but there wasn't like,
Yeah.
there was really Dally and his name was so-and-so. That's all, but it's an incredible story. And I think what I didn't get out of that book, because I didn't read that book until about 8 years ago, in the movie it says, can you see the sunset from the west side? Pretty good, yeah. Can you see it from the north side? You dig okay. And that was cool, and that's what the movie says. But in the book, and I'll always botch it, I should get it tattooed so I don't forget it. But in essence, it says, although our worlds were completely different, we saw the same sunset. And that hit me. This wall here is what we call our Wall of Fame.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So this is Buddy Joe Hooker. This is Darren Dalton. This is the librarian who had the book sent and the letters. That's Fred Roos. He's not only the casting agent, he's the executive producer on every movie since Godfather 2 with Coppola, S.E. Hinton, Rob Lowe, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio.
It's not just a movie. It's that era. It's Coppola. It's Tom Cruise. It's
Brat Pack.
so much
It's
stuff.
all of the
The Brat
actors.
Pack, yeah.
It is all of those
But
things.
the time too, like right before the loss of innocence of America,
Right,
that's
yeah,
really
50s.
what's very important.
My boy
50s,
said,
60s.
I brought my boy who runs this place for me, Donnie Rich. I love him. He's a Tulsan, and he's loved it since day one. But he came here maybe the first couple of days we were here, and I gave him a tour of basically a disheveled house.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came back outside, he was like in the zone.
Right.
And he looked up at me and goes, man, I want to thank you for allowing me to come to our generation's Graceland, Danny. And I go, man, that's pretty much what it is, isn't it? Because I couldn't describe. People are like, you love the movie so much, you bought the house? They still didn't, nobody got it until they got it. And then this is where the miracle happens, and this is where we saw the same sunset. I see, because of the students that we bring here, we brought over 4,000 students last year. We're probably gonna double that number this year. And they come from 5 different states around. They're not just Tulsa kids, they're coming from all over the place. And Oklahoma has a voice that is gold because it's untapped, it's unmolested, and it's not cut, As a former drug addict, do you want the stuff that's stepped on, or you want the pure?
Yes, you want pure.
This is puro, papi, you can't lose, okay?
Yes, I got you.
We get people come in here, they're crying, they're hyperventilating. I mean, this is like a cathartic experience for them. It's, dare I say, religious experience for them. If there's something that I didn't predict and that I didn't see, it was that these kids were gonna make such good use of this. I was trying to build it for us to show you switchblades and not to
Right,
other
yeah.
Jack and
Right.
hey brother. Like it's been a blessing, and I tell you what, I think it's going to be here a lot longer than we are, and that's a good thing. So
What's the website?
it's theoutsidershouse.com.
There you go. Outsidershouse.com.
Evan Squeezy.